to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's ubnradio.com.
Welcome to the Universal Broadcasting Network's Hit Afternoon Show, bringing you the latest in music news, artist interviews, and more, with your hosts, Dair Owens, Justin Tinucci, and Taylor Reyes. This is The Music Project.
Hey everybody, it's Dair Owens, and I'm alone in studio, but I have Garrett with me to keep me company.
Hi, I'm here.
Taylor is currently back in Boston, starting his first week of school at Berklee School of Music. Justin is in Colorado visiting his sister at the Air Force Academy, and I am here on my lovely Sunday with Garrett. So he is going to be my co-host and my only co-host.
I get to do things.
I know. How does it feel to have a mic?
It's good. I haven't had one recently.
I know.
It's been pretty packed in here. Now it feels really empty.
Yeah. Now you get to insert your awesome witty opinions.
Yeah, it's like the past few times we've had like 8 people in studio, and now we're down to 2. It's weird.
Yeah, it's like very empty because our guest for today is calling in. But before we get to them, we are just about a week after the VMAs. We weren't on air. We weren't recording live on the day of the VMAs, so we couldn't give you all the amazing things that happened. And I know Garrett likes to analyze TV shows and award shows and things like that. So I want to get your opinion on the VMAs, Garrett.
Okay, the VMAs were amazing. I normally don't care about the VMAs because it's like MTV and it's not a prestigious award show. It's by no means like generally trashy. This year it was, but
it's kind of one of those things where it's like the Grammys are the top, like the number
music,
one,
it's
and
like,
the bottom is the VMAs.
The VMAs, yeah. But so Kanye started, and like, of course, they're giving him a speech because they were giving him the Lifetime Award. Yeah. Makes sense. And then I don't think anyone expected for it to run 13 minutes.
It was 13 minutes. I knew it was long.
His speech was 13 minutes. And I loved it because it felt like he was trying to say something important. Then anytime he was about to reach the conclusion, which would have ended his speech, he suddenly switched topics just to keep it going. And he's running for president in 2020, which
I'm actually a little scared for. Like, no offense, Kanye, but seeing that all the people that were watching the VMAs will actually be able to vote in 2020. If he actually goes through with it.
If Kanye's running, I'm voting for him.
Yeah.
Solely out of principle. Are you prepared for the Donald Trump Kanye West 2020
I may move
campaign?
to Australia, not gonna lie. I'm very scared at that point.
And then the other thing is Miley Cyrus.
Oh my.
Yeah. She had the ridiculous outfits in full force. She tried to one-up Ellen's Oscar selfie and kind of failed with it.
Yeah.
Some of the sketches were really weird, like Snoop Dogg turning into a pig. I don't get that. I don't understand.
Yeah, that was weird.
That pretty much her whole thing was just really weird.
Now my question is, everyone saw that Nicki Minaj, Miley Cyrus shade thing.
Okay,
do you think it was staged? That's the question that everyone's
asking.
No,
I don't think it was staged. I really hope it isn't staged. That's one of those things that is really fun to watch in the music industry when someone has a beef and they're public about it. Like the Drake versus Meek Mills thing was so entertaining. Just to kind of have these updates, and then Meek challenges Drake, gets destroyed by Drake, and then dismisses it like, hey man, I'm the better of the two of us. I'm going to take the high road and not fight back. It's like, well, you started it, and you got you lost handily. So then he's trying to save face and do that. But I really hope we get like a Miley Cyrus diss song from Nicki. That would be hilarious.
My favorite thing is watching the people's faces around them. Like, because they showed the unedited video of Miley, on the camera that was on her during that, and you could see her face go, oh, wait, what? And you could see Rebel Wilson in the background. Did you watch that part?
I hadn't seen the unedited one, but
Rebel Wilson is, presented the award to Nicki Minaj, and you just see her go, in the background. I'm like, that's how I felt.
It kind of came out of nowhere, but it was
what's
pretty
good, Miley.
Great. Yeah, that's
good.
That's the best part is the reactions of people. It was when Kanye took the Beck thing. There was a video in the front row on Pharrell, Jay-Z, and Beyonce. And Jay-Z's face, he put his hands and he's like, oh no, not again. Pharrell is like starts to cheer because he's excited to see this go down. And Beyonce has like he's defending me again kind of thing going on. It was better than the actual moment, but I need to go watch that and see Rebel Wilson.
Yeah, no, it was pretty funny. Overall, the VMAs are just I don't understand. My favorite
messy
thing, the best performance of the night was Tori Kelly. And the reason I say that is I used to perform with her when I was like 12. Like, we had the same vocal coach. We grew up together. I saw her play when she was 15. She is just as good as she is now. But she was like the only one that actually played and sang live. Like, everyone else had tracks and things going on. And her performance was so good. It was on CNN the next day.
It made it to CNN?
Yeah, my mom was watching. They're like, yeah, CNN just played it and said it was like the best part of the award show.
Yeah,
and
she was by far the best performance. I was really excited for 21 Pilots and A$AP Rocky, and it was by no means bad. It just didn't.
It was a weird mix.
I thought it was good. I thought it was gonna work. It didn't work as well as I had hoped. But yeah, Tori Kelly was the best part, and it's kind of sad how it got overshadowed by Kanye's presidential campaign and Nicki Minaj going at Miley,
Cyrus,
but she did a great job. So
good
job,
overall, another trash year in
MTV
history. But it's all good. We appreciate all music, no matter what it is. But we are here today with our guest calling all the way from Toronto, East of Avenue. How are you guys doing?
Great. Thank you for having us.
First question: did you guys watch the VMAs?
No.
No.
We just gave you a highlight of the whole 2.5 hours in about 5 minutes.
I feel like we've already seen it now.
Yeah, I've caught up like a little bit, but yeah.
You didn't miss much. You're good. You're good. So would you mind introducing yourselves and saying what instrument you play just for the people who are listening who aren't familiar with your music?
So I'm Noel. I sing and I play guitar in East of Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm Sean, and I play guitar and keyboard sometimes.
Awesome. Fantastic. So how did you guys meet and get set up and create East of Avenue?
Yeah, well, it's kind of, I'll give you the long version maybe, but it'll still be short. Yeah, our drummer in our live band was a roommate at the time and introduced me to Sean a number of years back, and Sean and I had played around live and experimented in the studio for a while. And then we just started getting traction with the music we were working on in the studio, and it just started steamrolling from there.
That's pretty cool. Okay, I have a question. How did you get the name East of Avenue? Because it's an interesting name, and I want to know more about it. I just read it and something like stood out about it to me.
It's it kind of has a ring to it. It's random. Avenue Road's a street in Toronto, and me and Milton grew up east of it when a lot of our friends grew up west of it.
Okay.
Very awesome. So
that's it.
Very, very simple, very straightforward. Well, I found you guys on Spotify. I told you a little bit earlier. Discover Weekly sends you, about like 25 songs of like the new, like things that they think you'll like based on your music tastes. And I didn't know it existed until, a couple weeks ago. And the first song that was on the first playlist I ever received was your song Paper Planes. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that. And then we want to talk a little bit more about your music and what inspires you as musicians and so on and so forth. So this is Paper Planes by East of Avenue.
I walked around the world 100 times and realized that freight trains and paper planes are just like you and me. And funny how the world keeps spinning round and round and round, and where you land is where I'd like to be. And I wandered down the road and met up with a drifter. He said, hey, I don't think we met. Do you need a place to sleep? The tides are changing, the wind will lift you up, and baby, where you land is where I'm gonna be. Oh, 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 oh. Where you land is where I'm gonna be. Said where you land is where I'm gonna be. And hey there, spaceman, there's something about the way you move that Night skies and fireflies that fly so peacefully. We have been running around, tired of moving all around. Where you stand is where I should have been. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where you land is where I'm gonna be. Whoa, whoa. Said where you land is where I'm gonna be. Oh, come fly with me. Oh, where you land is where I'm gonna be. I walked around the world 100 times and realized that freight trains and airplanes are just like you and me. And funny how the world keeps spinning round and round and round, and where you land is where I wanna be. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where you land is where I'm gonna be. Whoa, 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 whoa. Said where you land is where I'm gonna be. Whoa, whoa. 'Cause where you land is where I'm gonna be.
Ugh, I love that song. Garrett and I were just talking about it while I was playing, and what did you say about it?
It sounds like it should be a song in a movie trailer, like a happy coming of age story.
Like, yeah, like it's produced very well, and I love the meaning behind it and everything like that. I guess that's what captured my attention, because not knowing what the Spotify Discover thing was, I was like, well, this could go either really great or really bad, depending on like what Spotify thinks I listen to. And since that was the first song, I was like, okay, this can't be too bad, and so it set it up really great. But so back to you guys.
Yeah.
How individually how'd you guys get started in music? Did you come from musical families, or is it just something that you kind of picked up on your own?
Well, both of us, it's funny, both of us are actually kind of like music nerds. We both actually studied jazz in universities up here at different schools. And then when we got together, we kind of took a different direction. But like our backgrounds definitely helped us out in the musicality and the production and stuff. Like we do everything on our own. Like we don't really have like other writers or producers. Everything is just us too.
So you guys play, write, and produce everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That is
Wow.
awesome. Like,
That's great.
I don't think producers get enough credit, when it comes to music, but like people who self-produce, I find it very interesting because they are the ones who have complete control over everything. They're the ones determining how it's going to sound. When you're working with an outside producer, you can tell them what you want it to be, but only they are going to be able to one that really, helps tie it together.
For sure.
Especially if you're not in the music industry, you really don't know how important producers are. And it's honestly no offense to musicians, but I think the production aspect is what makes or breaks this song.
Oh, totally. Because you could take a song, and you could take a song like that, and if you gave it to the wrong producer, it could be completely country or.
It's a great point.
Top.
That's a great point.
Mm-hmm. So coming from jazz, I admire jazz musicians an extreme amount because jazz is probably one of the hardest genres you could possibly play. How did you transfer from jazz into this kind of cool indie singer-songwriter feel?
Well, yeah, we both love jazz, but I don't know if I can speak for Sean, but like, I just love playing singer-songwriter music because it's really captivating for people to watch. I like playing music for people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for the average person. So I don't know. That's for me.
Yeah, I can kind of agree. We as much as we love jazz, it's like the average listener connects to this kind of music a lot better because it's a lot more down to earth. If we were up there, and also it reaches a wider audience. if we started playing some like, abstract free form experimental jazz, chances are we wouldn't be having this interview with you guys right now.
That is very true. You might have a small like little cult following, but yeah, I mean, it's all in how you perceive it. And for me, I mean, singer-songwriter music I love mostly because of the lyrics. Like as a songwriter myself, I find it so important to like lyrics. I mean, music is very important. That being said, when you're listening to a song, most of the time you hear a lyric or you relate to a song. So when you have something that's a little bit more mellow and easygoing like this, it's a lot easier to grasp onto, if that makes sense. Like, it's easier to relate to it than something that's like really far out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, exactly, 100%.
Yeah, and like the music that I always come back to is like my favorite singer-songwriter stuff. It's like that's just some of my favorite music. So.
Well, going into that, as far as artists that inspire you, like to write, this type of music, who would you say really you model yourself after? Not even model, but who has inspired you when writing this music?
Well, I think there's two parts to that question. Like, there's kind of like, at least speaking on behalf of myself, like there's the music that's like kind of with us, just like subconsciously, the stuff we've been listening to since we were kids.
Yeah.
Which is obviously for me like the Beatles and pretty much just the Beatles, and like that kind of like.
Just the Beatles.
Like, that. Yeah. So that's like really like kind of like the subconscious writing influence, and then like. On a more modern palette, like where it influences a bit more, like the production sounds and kind of the modern aspect. The guys who are shaking things up right now, like Ed Sheeran and Vance Joy and Mumford and Sons. So it's kind of a mix of the old and new.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, I mean, we were kind of like, we're both kind of old souls. Like, we both like singer-songwriter stuff from like the 70s, like Paul Simon, James Taylor.
Oh, of course.
And then, we both like really love the fact that like organic sounds are coming through again on the radio. They've been it's kind of been a bit barren, the last sort of like few years. And then like now it's kind of opening up again with organic sounds, which we're like really excited about.
What I think is cool is like, I always talk about breaks in the music industry. Like everything will be very, I don't want to say generic, but everything will kind of sound the same, like music-wise. And then there'll be one artist or one song that just pops out. Like, for me, it was the one I noticed was Adele, "Rolling in the Deep." Like, when that song came out, I was like, whoa, that's so different from everything else that's out there. Or "Say Something" by A Great Big World. Like, there's just these certain songs that come out and you're like, whoa, that's so different from everything else on the radio. It kind of makes you like sit up and listen, which I think is really cool, especially since we're getting more into that technical phase where everyone wants to be super out there and, crazy, but now it's coming back to being a little bit more organic.
And the nice part, I think...
and like Adele was kind of like the one who broke the barrier, I feel.
It's nice also, we have such a great platform to find music that would have never have been successful. So you have artists with small cult followings and they can blow up on any kind of social media and then they can rise to the top. And the other nice part about Adele is it made it so people who I guess traditionally wouldn't have done as well because she has a different look, especially because when you think R&B singer, she doesn't fit the description.
Yeah.
And it's like you have Ed Sheeran, who also, that's another guy who's like, I don't look like most international superstars.
Yeah. I think it's also, I mean, as much as it is with music, it's also kind of like, I guess, a self-confidence thing for other musicians or actors or sports figures or whatever. It's, because when Adele came out, it was like the height of Britney Spears, like when she made her big comeback, and everyone was kind of modeling after that. But it also showed like you can go totally out of your way and still be super successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So that's just what we're trying to go for, like that's the organic sound and obviously some pop appeal and Spotify's been really cool because it's opened us up to a whole new sort of and especially like a lot of US listeners, which is great because we don't have like any radio play or anything like that in the US up until this point. So yeah, we've gotten a lot of we've gotten a bit of interest from some people in the United States. It's been awesome.
Especially, Spotify.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I just said especially like through Spotify. Like, I mean, I found you guys through Spotify, not even, aware that I was going to find you guys. You know, it wasn't me searching your name or anything. It was just, hey, I think you're going to like this. And I happen to like it,
wow.
you know?
Yeah,
That's amazing. Yeah, Spotify does a
favor.
Yeah, Spotify does in that, like, all things considered, although it can be questionable in terms of artist compensation. Like, in terms of exposure, there's nothing else in the world like Spotify. Like, some of our friends and like projects who are kind of along the same lines of progress as we are, like same style and same age or whatever, they don't have anyone outside of their their city, or let alone like group of friends who know their music. And us, like, we've got waves of people from across the world, like Italy and Indonesia, who are just like popping up on our social media saying they love the music. So it's remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
So Paper Planes was your first single, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What else could we expect on the album? Will it have a similar sound, or is it?
Yeah,
is
well,
Paper
actually,
Planes a
we
bit
just
different?
released the album, so it is available. See, the thing is, I believe something is getting worked out, maybe in terms of a U.S. release, but it's still not available on the iTunes store.
It should be on Spotify though.
Okay.
The album. We released it a few weeks ago.
Very cool.
Yeah, we released it on the 28th, so it's still pretty fresh.
Okay, so it's although we can't buy it on iTunes here yet in the U.S., it's on Spotify. Should be on Spotify. I guess if you want to, you could also change your city or your country on iTunes to Canada.
Don't tell anyone.
Why not?
If you want to buy it. But no, congratulations on that. How is
awesome.
coming off of that, since you guys just released it, like a week ago, maybe? About?
What's that been
A week and a
like?
half, yeah.
How's the feeling? Like, what is the response you're getting off of it?
It's great. I mean, we're really proud of it. I mean, it's a 6-song EP, and basically, it's sort of just following the traction we've gotten off of our first single. We've released the second single called Army of One, and we just expanded on the sound of what people know us best for, which is Paper Planes, and again, it's just kind of the old meets the new, and I think it's just a good starting point for us.
It's great. So we have Army of One queued up to play next, but before we play it, we want to talk a little bit about it. So what is Army of One about?
It's kind of tricky, like without narrowing it down. I mean, all of our songs, it's funny because I could probably say this about all of our songs lyrically. Lyrically, we don't like getting into too specific. Like, we don't want to make it too obvious about one thing. Mm-hmm. We want to kind of leave it up to, like, we personally have our motives, but when we write the lyrics, we try and make it as mysterious as possible, but still broad enough of a concept for people to relate to and put their own meanings to it. So that being said, Army of One, generally speaking, is a song about pretty much overcoming adversity and being an army of one and overcoming big problems, especially, with a head nod to social isolation issues and stuff like that. I mean, if you check out the lyrics, it's pretty broad. It's like an anthem for someone who's feeling isolated, pretty much.
Fantastic. Well, let's take a listen to Army of One, and then when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about your writing process.
Awesome. Thanks.
I run through the streets to the beat of a drum. Don't know where I'm going, but know where I'm from. The world might be shaking, but I built my house out of stone. So I lit a spark and I let it burn. I felt the world move, so I just let it turn. Every place that I've been is a story written in my bones. But if the world should walk away, I'll hear them calling my name. I won't live for yesterday. These are the front lines. I'm an army of one. Oh, I'm an army of one. Yes, I am an army of one. I look through the city so distant and cold, but inside my mind there's a story untold, a song of soldier who's been on his own for so long. And oh, I feel it in my chest. Oh, in these walls I feel blessed. Each face that I see is a story that lives in my bones. But if the world should walk away, I'll hear them calling my name. I won't live for yesterday. These are the front lines. I'm an army of one. Oh, I'm an army of one. Yes, I am an army of one. And do you hear me screaming now? Brother, can you hear me now? Singing, oh, I will never let you down. But if the whole world walks away, I'll hear them calling my name. No, we won't live for yesterday. These are the front lines. Oh, I'm an army of one. Yes, I am an army of one. Oh, I'm an army of one. Yes, I am an army of one.
I love it. That was Army of One by East of Avenue. We're back on the Music Project, sponsored by Hubert's Lemonade. Yeah, you guys just have a very classic sound. Like, it's just very, I don't want to say clean, but it's just, it's nice. Like, it's just, hear all this as like placement songs in movies or TV shows.
It's nice and laid back. It's not too fast. It's not too slow. A happy message like this. I have to write an essay later. I'm going to just play some stuff like this. Just have it going on a loop.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's just a nice pop song. We didn't want to get too complicated with it or anything, but yeah, we just hopefully it's a message that comes across to people, and it's something that people enjoy.
So let's talk a little.
We've actually gotten a few Facebook messages. No, what was it? We got one Facebook message of someone who was like battling cancer on the east coast of Canada, and they sent us a message letting us know that song was like giving them hope or something crazy like that.
Yeah, it just sort of inspired him in his journey, and it's good, and that's why it's great that people can apply their own sort of meaning to the song,
Yeah, that's actually the best part is when we get messages from people saying they relate to it on a level that we had no intention of. Right, they put their own meaning to it. That's the absolute best as an artist and a lyricist.
Like in the end, that's why you do what you do. Like that's the reason in the end you do music is to inspire other people or to help them through a hard time or whatever it is. And you know that's what you're supposed to be doing. But at the same time, when you get those types of comments, it can almost take you back for a minute. You're like, wow, I didn't know I had that. I could impact someone like that. So congratulations, you guys. I can tell that really means a lot to you guys.
Yeah, no, that's the best. That's probably one of the best rewards as an artist. And for Paper Planes, we got like that times a million. Like our inbox was just flooded with messages just of stories like that. Parents talking about their little newborn babies who sing along to the song and people going through tough times. Like, it's just awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about your writing process, about these songs. I mean, we talked a little bit about how you like to keep things kind of mysterious, but yet open it up for interpretation, which is great. But when it comes down to actually sitting down and writing the songs, can you give us kind of like a step-by-step process of how, the song starts to how you get to that end product?
Well, first off, we start east of Avenue in a studio that's east of Avenue Road in Toronto. And Sean and I just get together and we just sort of bounce ideas off each other, talk about what's inspiring us, and just go from there.
There's a lot of writers. There's a lot of writers out there. Noel and I make fun of them sometimes, but they actually start their songs by literally mumbling. Like they'll like find a cool guitar progression and then literally mumble lyrics, and then from that build something out of the gibberish. So we're the opposite. I'm serious. There's some famous songs that were written that way, and we're completely the opposite. Like we're kind of conceptual writers. Like we'll come down. We'll sit down at the table and have an idea or a story before we even have a melody or a chord progression.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basing it about this one idea or, two ideas or whatever you're picking from and being like, okay, we want to write a song about this. How can we like get this message across?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like writing a script, for a movie or something. You have the plot and then you sit down and then you develop characters and you develop a storyline.
Very cool.
Okay.
And so, and do both of you write lyrics and music?
Yeah.
See, that's so much easier when you have two people to do that, because we have bands who come in, they're like, all five of us write lyrics. Like, how do you decide on anything? Like, I write lyrics by myself and I still can't decide on anything. Like, how do five people agree on the same line? But
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've
for sure.
got heads and stuff from time to time, but like the cream rises to the top, right? Like, it's the best idea wins, right? So.
Yeah, Army of One, I remember, took us I wish we could say it was like, a hard day's night where you wrote the tune in 30 minutes. It's definitely not the case. Like, we were super perfectionists with that song. If I'm not mistaken, it took us like 3 full sessions to write it. So
wow.
we made it because we knew it was the right one, and we just didn't want to skim over it. And like every line had to be perfect, and we're happy how it turned out.
That's awesome. You have that nice mix. I know I heard a story, a couple years ago about, you remember that song Fireflies by Owl City?
Yeah,
Like, that was like all over the place. I guess they wrote that like song in 15 minutes in like his parents' basement or something like that. But then you hear these classic songs that took months to write. So I guess it just kind of depends on the song itself and, how the inspiration's flowing. And like a song, Army of One, I guess you guys are really passionate about it. So you wanted it to be like that perfect, like, everything together, and it can take time sometimes.
Oh yeah, and like every lyric, like there was like we would have discussions over like a single lyric, you know what I mean? But like at the end of the day, literally, I'm so happy with every single molecule of sound on that recording.
Well, that's awesome. Off of your new EP album released thing, what would you say your personal favorite song is? Would you say Army of One?
My personal favorite. So you guys haven't checked out the whole album yet. Hopefully you'll get a second to do that. My favorite song is a tune called "Old Times."
Okay.
That's I think the last song on the EP. That's my personal favorite.
Old Times. All right.
That one rocks out a little bit, and it's a feel good track, just about like memories and like living in the moment. I don't know. I don't really have like a favorite. I'm really indecisive when it comes to that kind of thing. But every song has its place on the album, and like it's good. Like we have like a ballad, and then we have a song that's like pretty similar to Paper Planes, but also different. And we have some, and then Army of One, Old Times are a bit more expansive in terms of.
Yeah, we covered all of our bases.
It's hard. It's kind of like picking your favorite child. Like, I don't want to say you have one, but you do. But you can't pick. You
can't admit it.
Can't admit it, Mom. I know I'm your favorite. Just putting that out there. But you have all these things that you've worked and you pour your heart into, and then I know that's such a hard question, but you're like, which one is like the one that just calls to me? So. I know that's a really tough question, but I thought I would ask.
Yeah, I also find it weird listening to your own music too.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to separate yourself from it, right?
Yeah. Have you ever had a song where you haven't listened to it in like a year and a half, and then like it comes up on your phone or iTunes playlist or whatever, and then you're like, whoa, I forgot I did that, or I forgot this part was in the song or whatever, like, because as you evolve over time,
that's a great feeling.
Change.
It's a great feeling.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah, you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad actually.
We got better. We remember that. So yeah, very cool.
So
awesome. So you're a singer as well, is that right?
I am. Yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great. So she can relate.
I can relate. It's very hard. Or when you write something that's very personal to you, like if it's like a personal story or message, you get like very vulnerable. And it can be scary. Like, do you guys relate to that? Like being scary, putting this message out and being like, oh, well, I hope people like it or don't judge me for it. You know, like I'm being very honest here.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like reading constructive criticism. Like, we don't get a lot of it, to be honest. And but I think it's a nice window into like, because like sometimes you'll agree with them, and sometimes it'll maybe like let you think like, okay, like not everyone like loves what, you know what I mean? It's nice to be polarizing sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got one pretty bad review.
Oh.
It's maybe the guy had a bad day that day or something. That's probably what it was.
But the thing is, when you're getting
said
all
that he
this,
liked it at the end of the review, though. You said that he liked it, but it just, you know, for his taste or whatever. But whatever, we don't need him.
well, when you're getting all that positive
we don't need
feedback, it's kind of it's hard because you do remember that like one bad critique, but you have all these people saying how the songs have inspired them or helping them through something. So it's so hard because then you think about that one bad comment and it's nothing compared to everything else, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to like hate our music because it's pretty inoffensive at this point.
And I think that's why he hated it, because it was like too nice. He was like, I want something meaner, you know? Maybe he was listening to the wrong genre playlist.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the best / worst critique I ever got is I wrote a song about my old guitarist and I sent it out in like a newsletter and I sent it to his dad accidentally, and he emailed me back and he's like, you know, the song is good, but I think you need a better bridge. And I'm like, I don't know if he realized I actually wrote the song about his son, but that was like the best critique I've ever got. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll work on that.
It's like, oh, thanks for the advice on the song I wrote, insulting your kid.
Yep. So we've talked about how you guys grew up, how you guys write. What about your live shows?
Yeah, so we're kickstarting that right now. We've been touring a little bit around the area, and like what Sean and I really want to do is play some music festivals, you know.
Yeah,
so we're
that's the way
kind
to
of
go.
ramping up with that as the goal, you know.
Music festivals are a great way to kind of get yourself out there. Even if you have to start on the bottom and work your way up, but you get exposed to all these different types of people who would have never heard of you beforehand.
The nice part is people, like, when they go to music shows, they're really open to it too.
Yeah.
Even if it's not something they normally listen to, it's like, I'm there, they're playing, I might as well hear them, because even if I don't like necessarily that sound, I'm going to appreciate the fact that they're here and they're bringing their own like creativity to something like that.
Exactly.
I feel like a music festival is like a great way to see if your music's working too, because if you have a crowd of say 1,500 people or whatever it is, and you know if they're all dancing, well, that's a good sign, you know.
Yeah. Or you know, if half the crowd kind of slowly walks away towards the food trucks, then you're like, maybe.
Yeah, we gotta fix this one. Yeah.
Maybe we should work on this one.
Yeah.
Or move the food truck closer to the stage or something like that.
Yeah.
So so out of the few shows that you guys have done so far, has there been a show that's been really memorable to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, it's funny when you set something out into the world and it has a certain effect, because we sort of did a couple of shows in some smaller markets outside of Toronto, and we did a show in Peterborough, which is about an hour east of Toronto. And then we did a show in Barrie, which is an hour north of Toronto. And the people in Peterborough, there's a contingent of them that loved the first show so much that they came to Barrie for the second one. So that wasn't something we had anticipated happening, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that had to have been a great feeling.
Yeah, that was cool, and they loved it. They loved it.
So yeah, I mean. We're getting the live show rolling, and hopefully, we'll be at your local music festival before too long, you know.
Well, you also
see
need
you guys at Coachella.
Go.
Yeah, exactly.
Come to Coachella, guys. Like, Coachella's been getting really interesting. Not gonna lie, like I haven't been.
Coachella's slowly turning into Burning Man, just with different music.
I'm always interested. Like I'm like, oh, I should go to Coachella this year. Like, let me see if I can justify paying that amount of money to go to this festival. And I remember seeing AC/DC headlining last year. I'm like, okay, I'm an AC/DC fan, but that just seems like a weird weird mix for this, but I don't
That is
know.
weird.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I actually enjoyed Kendrick Lamar's set is on YouTube. I enjoyed that. It was pretty good.
but
I
yeah,
thought so.
he wasn't he one of the headliners though.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So you have AC/DC headlining,
Yeah, Kendrick was
Kendrick Lamar, and wasn't it like
Drake was the other big
Drake?
one. I thought it was like what Drake and AC/DC were the big two.
yeah, something like that. But I'm just like, that's a weird mix. And then you have everyone else in there. You have the Jack White and all those smaller indie bands. But yeah, no, getting on a festival circuit is really cool because not only do you get to travel and play for thousands of people, but it's also just I feel like it's like a community experience. Like whether you're playing or you're attending, you kind of create like this little family while you're there, which I think is very cool.
Oh, it's magical, yeah, for sure. And Canada's got tons. We've got lots of great festivals.
Ew.
Yeah, tons of festivals around the Toronto area every summer. Because you got to pack in all the festival time you can while you got the summer.
Yeah,
We only have
Yeah,
5.
so like in the summer, there's like literally one a week for the whole summer.
that's so funny. And you guys are kind of coming to the end of that, right? You're about to get into some really cold territory soon.
Yes, yes.
So
We'll play the ice festival.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's our goal is to get down to the U.S. this winter and do some writing in L.A., Nashville. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Well, you'll have to make sure you put in some dates in Los Angeles so we can come see you guys because
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
you got 2 more fans here in studio of you. So we would love to come
For
see you
sure.
guys. So if you have any shows coming
Sweet.
up in the greater Los Angeles area, you'll have to let us know.
Absolutely. What part of L.A. are you
keep in
guys?
touch.
We are like in Los Angeles, like
Yeah,
the center. Like we, our studio is positioned
is in
like
Hollywood.
2 streets away from Hollywood and Highland.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
right
cool.
by Hollywood Boulevard with all the stars and the Walk of Fame.
But we have
Right on.
cars.
Yeah,
We'll,
we have some friends who are down there actually, who live down there. So
we'll brace the freeway. We'll go wherever we need to.
yeah.
Amazing.
So you have this pending U.S. release date. You're trying to book some shows down here. You guys are just, I feel like you guys have really something special, and you're gonna, although it might take some time to break down up into the U.S.
Blowing up.
It's just you guys, you're getting there, and I'm very excited to see where you guys are gonna go.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that a lot.
So we
Yeah.
have one more song from you guys called "In His Hands." I'm very curious. I know you guys say, everything's kind of open for interpretation, but for you, what does "In His Hands" mean?
Or what's the general
idea.
Yeah, this song is just about like appreciating your significant other, and just like really sort of like holding on to that kind of feeling of appreciation and not letting that sort of wither away as the relationship carries on. So, yeah, and I think that's a good state of mind to go into a relationship with.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was curious because I couldn't tell if it may or may not had religious meaning, like in his hands as in like in God's hands, which I thought, I think it could go in either way, but I was very curious to see what your guys' perspective of that song was. So
Yeah, like Sean and I don't really write with the religious perspective. We're not really religious people per se,
Yeah.
but yeah, like if anyone interprets it that way, like that's awesome.
Great. Yeah.
awesome. Well,
You know what I
let's
mean?
take a listen to "In His Hands" by East of Avenue.
If I gave you my heart, would you want me to start loving you always? I would never change, always running back to you. If I gave you my soul, would you want me to go wherever you go? You will always know in my heart is where you'll stay. If it all comes falling down, will you still want me around? 'Cause I am only just a man, a man who tried to hold you in his hands. Oh, told you the truth and promised never to lie. Would you believe that I would stay by your side, never leave you in the night? But if it all comes falling down, will you still want me around? 'Cause I am only just a man, a man who try to hold you. If we get blinded by the snow and our hearts start running cold, that's alright, 'cause we can leave each other's side. But I just want you to know I would never want our love to grow old. Oh, so when it all comes falling down, won't you still want me around? 'Cause I am only just a man, a man who try to hold you, a man who try to hold you, a man who try to hold you in his hands.
Aw, I love that song.
That was so beautiful.
I think Garrett's tearing up a bit.
Thanks, guys.
I think I see a teardrop behind his glasses. Well,
Someone's cutting onions.
we are just about out of time, but we want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for the last 15 minutes. Before we go,
It's been great.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
of course, thank you for joining us all the way from Toronto. But before we go, we want to grab your guys' social media so people know where to find you,
Sure.
and also any upcoming shows you guys might have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're facebook.com/East of Avenue. Our Twitter handle is East of Ave. And Instagram, we're East of Avenue, at East of Avenue. So that's where you can find us. Yeah, we'll be posting, we're pretty active on social media, especially since we've just released our album. We've got live dates in the works, so we're pretty active. So yeah, please follow us if you like our music. And you know, as I said, hopefully we'll be playing in a city near you before too long.
Yay! And so, do you have any other upcoming shows?
Yeah, we do.
Mostly in the Toronto. I don't know if your listeners are too familiar with it. Like
We are
we're playing in
worldwide, so
Hamilton, and
we might have some listeners in
Oh,
Toronto.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so where are we playing next?
we're playing the Drake. We got to check the old black book. We're playing at the Drake Hotel.
Okay.
September. No, what day is it?
I'm in my iCal right now. Sorry, I know we're recording time here, aren't we? Possibly.
We're not very organized.
On the 14th, September 14th at the Drake.
Fantastic.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Venue.
If I was in a band, I would
anyone
have this
listening from
problem
Toronto
too.
or Southern Ontario, come see us.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. This has been a lot of fun. Your music is wonderful. And again, let us know when it's actually available to buy here in the US.
Yes, send something over and we can have a little shout out on one of our other shows.
Yes, definitely. Keep us posted
Yeah,
on
that'd be amazing.
any new news you guys have. We would
Yeah.
love to promote it.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for listening. It means the world to us.
Of course. Thank you guys. All right, guys. I'm Lauren Dair Owens.
And I'm Garrett Palmer.
And this has been the Music Project. See you guys next week.
In the future,
Hey, guys.
talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics in music that affect your life.